What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. The Overwatch 2022 Archives event is coming up soon, and while I already did a video discussing the event's start date and other details we can expect with this year's event, I also wanted to once again make a video showing off some possible new skin ideas we could be getting with this year's event, as well as some artwork of what these different skin ideas might end up looking like in-game. Historically, we've seen the Archives event introduce skins that focus specifically on the backstory of each individual hero. The one notable exception to this was last year's Archives event where we got historical skins for each of the heroes, but given that that skin theme was not super well received, personally I thought a lot of them were okay, but most people didn't really seem to care for them, which is why I'm willing to bet once again Blizzard is going to try to focus on adding more backstory focused hero skins as opposed to historical ones. Or maybe we'll get a mix of both, who knows. But in this video I want to focus on some skin ideas that particularly tie into the backstories of individual heroes, because to be honest, there's still quite a few ideas out there that haven't been manifested in skins yet. So to start off, I'd like to talk about two of my favorite Archive skin ideas, which are Scourge and Savior Doomfist skins. Now, as many of you may remember, back in the early days of Overwatch, before Doomfist was actually a playable hero, we saw these three posters hanging in the Heritage Museum on the Numbani map, which showcased not only the obscured, shadowy image of the current Doomfist, but also his two predecessors, which were the Savior and the Scourge. These two characters in and of themselves are very interesting, and we haven't gotten a whole ton of information on either of them just yet, but given that we used to see both of them so clearly depicted on the old version of Numbani, and the fact that they are quite visually distinct from the current Doomfist we have in-game, makes me believe that these would be fantastic skin ideas for the Doomfist hero in-game. Out of the two of them, I have to say that the Savior is by far my favorite of the two predecessors, just because I love the way his gauntlet was essentially just knuckle dusters and not even a proper gauntlet yet at that point. And while there might be some issues when it comes to like the design, because they'd have to make like his forearm just like super beefy in order to take up the same amount of space for the silhouette that you get from the modern Doomfist, but nonetheless I think these would both make for phenomenal skin ideas for Doomfist specifically, and of course they would fit perfectly in the Archives event given that they tie into the backstory of Doomfist. But moving on to another fantastic skin idea, this one which actually has some fantastic fan artwork to go with it, we have Astronaut Sigma. Now we know from Sigma's backstory that he regularly went into space to perform different sorts of gravity experiments, with one of these missions being the catastrophic event that ultimately gave him his crazy gravity powers. And while in his origin story specifically we see him in his basic scientist outfit, it's also fair to assume that at some points in his backstory he probably had to venture outside of the space station itself, so Astronaut Sigma seems a perfect fit for this character. Not only does it make sense to have an astronaut skin for a hero who literally just floats around, but it'd be such a cool design that I think could fit Sigma really well given his existing design of having this sort of futuristic technology sort of suit. All you'd have to do is give him a proper space helmet, add some more astronaut themed padding around the bulk of him, and I think it would work out really well. I love the concept artwork we see here, and honestly I could imagine a skin in-game not looking too different from this. Easily this is one of my most anticipated new skin ideas since Sigma is one of my favorite heroes. But moving on to another backstory focused skin which also has some artwork, we have casual / gamer Genji. Now we've only had a few glimpses at what Genji looked like back in the day before his fateful encounter with his brother, but we do know that prior to becoming a cyborg, Genji was quite fond of gaming and spent a lot of time at the Hanamura arcade. So what better way to flesh out that aspect of Genji's backstory than to give him a casual gamer skin? Honestly, I could see Blizzard taking the skin idea in a lot of different directions. They could make it as simple as him just wearing a hoodie, kind of like his Overwatch 2 design, but before he was a cyborg. Or maybe they could push it more into the gamer specific direction where he has all sorts of like gamer branding on his jacket and has some sort of like weird gaming sword thing. I don't know, I'm just thinking of like the Nintendo Power Glove from back in the day. It's like, imagine that, but a sword. I don't know, Blizzard's creative, I'm sure they could come up with an interesting way to implement that design into a skin, but I certainly think there's some potential here for Genji specifically, and I'd love to get another look at what sort of outfits and designs he wore back in the day before he ended up becoming a cyborg. Moving on though to another skin idea, this is a very popular one which I've seen talked about for years at this point, so of course I had to include it in this video, and that's Shooting Star star mech Diva. This is of course the gray mech we saw Diva building at the end of her Shooting Star animated short after her prior pink mech got destroyed, and while we can assume that this is only just a partially finished version and the final product she's working on here will end up looking like the one she already has in game, I love the idea of Diva getting a skin which focuses on this aspect of her animated short where she has a sort of prototype slash unfinished mech. There's even been some cool fan art about what this type of skin might end up looking like, and certainly there's a lot of cool things they could do with Diva herself, such as giving her the mecha jacket and hat which we see her wearing in the animated short, and overall I think this would just be a really cool and interesting skin for Diva to get, especially since she doesn't have any archive skins yet. I could even see this easily just being an epic skin that we get as part of one of the weekly challenges, since the design is technically identical to her default mech, just with a different color scheme, but nonetheless, it's a cool idea that I would love to see Blizzard finally introduce in one way or another, and I know for a fact that there are a lot of people out there who think the same way. And next up, we have Training Armor Brigitta. This is a skin concept which comes straight out of Brigitta's origin story, where in one of the scenes we see her sparring with Reinhardt and using this sort of padded training mace and shield. While the exact outfit we see her wearing here is actually very similar to her engineer skin, which is part of her base loot pool, I think there's certainly some potential here when it comes to focusing specifically on the padded mace and shield, and maybe giving her a new outfit as well to match that idea of her having just this sort of sparring outfit as opposed to the standard combat outfit we see with her default skin. Like the mace and shield, the outfit itself could have some sort of padding, maybe a little like helmet to protect her head while she's fighting against Reinhardt, and I think it would not only make for a cool and unique design for the hero, but also I think it would tie in very nicely with her backstory and especially the aspects which connect to Reinhardt. Heck, maybe Reinhardt could end up getting a sparring skin as well, where he just has a much bigger version with like a padded hammer of some sort, and then you could have the two skins released together and it's like, oh yeah, they're sparring partners. Then you can fight each other in game and it'll be all fun, and then one kills the other and you realize, yeah, even if you're wearing padded armor in Overwatch, yeah, you're gonna be dealing lethal damage. But I think they're fun ideas at the very least, and could definitely tie into their backstories in their own special way. And the last new skin idea I have for this video is Omnic Crisis Orisa. Now, I'm sure you all have heard me talk about this in the past because this is far from the first time I've brought it up, but I would love for Orisa to get the orange Omnic Crisis version of her already existing purple Null Sector skin. For comparison, Bastion has both versions of the skin. He has the orange Omnic Crisis version, which is part of his base loot pool, and the purple Null Sector one, which was part of the early archives events, and Orisa has the purple Null Sector version, but not the orange Omnic Crisis one, despite the fact that we see this exact design appear in Reinhardt's animated short. So what better way to flesh out the backstory of the OR-14s and Orisa herself than to give her a proper Omnic Crisis version of this. Now, I know that some people might be upset because it wouldn't technically be a new skin since it's already using an existing model from a number of years ago at this point, but I think it would still be appreciated enough by enough people that it'd be worth it for Blizzard to add it as a skin. Heck, maybe they could even make it just one of the weekly challenge skins so that people won't feel ripped off by having one of the few legendary skins we get with the event just be an old skin essentially. But nonetheless, I think it would be a very fitting idea, and I'm really disappointed that Blizzard hasn't added this as a skin yet, but hey, at this point I've been suggesting it for years and it hasn't happened, so I guess we can just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Anyways, that does it for my Overwatch 2022 Archives Event Skin Ideas video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know which skins you'd like to see added in the comments down below. Are there any of the ones I mentioned here which you're a fan of, or maybe you have your own ideas for cool new additions? Either way, I'd love to hear from you, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content, and special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible. If you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below, and otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.